Live stream.
Meetings being live streamed. I agree.
Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Done. Boom. Okay. So here we are. I guess we're doing the thing. We're live.
We're live, so it should be showing up on Man Up Life Coaching YouTube channel.
Okay, actually, I just put a link that you can pop in there in the chat that you can pop in there that will direct them to the thing. Pretty tech savvy for 53. Huh.
Not bad, not
Thanks,
bad.
buddy. All right. So what do I owe the pleasure, Billy Leggett? What are we doing here today? Hit me to the script.
Sure. I guess this is kind of the release, telling everybody about this event that we've got planned in June. It's called the Elevated Man's Performance Conference, and it's going to be hosted outside of a little town in Colorado called Jefferson, Colorado, which is about a 2-hour drive from Denver. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. We got a bunch of awesome breakout sessions planned, and really excited to be able to kick this off with Man Up Life Coaching.
Cool, man. So I should just mention that I have family in Edward, Colorado. So it's really right on the way to Puma Hills if I were to do something insane like ride my motorcycle. I could stop in and I could stop in and see some family members on my way. So yeah, we've had the idea, Billy, of Man Up Life Coaching has been a men's coaching service now for the past, I want to say, 11 years this March. And we've always had the idea of doing an actual get together. But this is kind of next level. I'm seeing what you're putting together and it looks pretty freaking amazing. So, how would I sort of pitch this to my guys? I have certain clients I want to shoulder tap that I think have the money, could make the time, and would get enjoyment. So, what's the reason for them to do this?
Well, I think one of the big things for me, and Steve and I have talked about this quite a bit, is just community and connection is just such an important thing that seems to be like daily becoming less and less of a something that we can easily tap, right? And finding people who are kind of on the same path as you, people who are looking to improve their lives, who are willing to do the work. I think that's a rare thing to be able to come across. So for me, that's one of the biggest things about this event is that we're going to be able to connect with guys who may or may not be going through very similar things, but are certainly on a path of growth and trying to learn something about themselves, develop themselves. And that to me is what I'm most excited about personally.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. So the pictures that I've seen so far that are these promotional images they're pretty freaking sick, dude. It's like it looks legit. How did this happen? I mean, people are going to think,
it's actually a funny story. Like the reason I selected this area is, I do a lot of like hunting and fly fishing and just outdoor trail running and all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty familiar with the mountains throughout Colorado, just in general. But this particular area, in fact, this exact lodge, it was a place that I actually went to summer camps as a kid. And they ended up selling it, the group that was doing these summer camps, and they sold it to this group, Puma Hills. And they do more like conferences and events. They had the U.S. water polo team was hosted there last year, stuff like that. But I was talking to my older brother, who's actually a guide for the summer camp that I used to go to as a kid, and was telling him about, hey, I was, thinking about doing this retreat, talking to guys with the coaching group about doing it, and he's like, "Oh man, you should do it up at the old location. They're still operating."
Yeah.
So I went up there and visited and checked it out, and like they've done some amazing improvements, and it's stellar. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Do you guys have the website thing up yet, or is there anything that like you could throw me as a link if I wanted to do some sort of a screen share to just kind of like show that? I mean, it's like beautiful stuff, man.
Sure. Do you want to see the conference link or the Puma Hills link?
The sexier of the two, I guess.
Steve, what's your bet?
Or if I suggest we go to manuplifecoaching.com/events and we go through the whole navigation in case somebody wanted to in case somebody were getting there through Man Up Life Coaching.
Okay, that sounds good. I don't know if this will work out if I do a screen share. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do a little screen share here. Welcome to my screen. Share computer sound. So I don't know why that would be interesting for you. Come over here. Oh, that's us. Come over here to manuplifecoaching.com/what? Events?
Plural.
Events. And action. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, talk to me about this, man. What am I looking at? Like, what is that real?
That's the spot. That's
Get out.
Yeah, that's what they're dealing with up there. So that's just a small section of a number of the teepees that they've got set up. They're kind of this glamping model, which is pretty cool. It's a teepee, but once you click on the site, there's some images of what the interiors of those look like.
Oh, if I were to hit learn more.
Yep.
It's almost like it's my site. Let's see. So yeah, I see what you're getting at here. What?
Yeah,
That's pretty fancy.
That would be one of the community teepees, one of the bigger ones. And then they've got dressers and beds and all that sort of stuff.
Get out.
Ones.
Look at this. Oh, here's what we're looking at. Golly. Look at this. This is beautiful. So you're a guy and you decide I'm interested in, coming to hang out with some dudes, and you're really selling me with all this stuff. What else okay. And then 2025 elevated. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Elevated, right? We're going to be up there.
Right.
And those rocks.
And man up, right?
Man, all the way up, right? Play on. All right. So, okay. So this is good. I'll stop sharing now so people can see my face and junk. But so I'm a dude, I'm watching this and I'm like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? So what's the who, what, when, where, and why? Who? Man Up Life Coaching is co-sponsoring an event that Billy, you as a client, are working together with Steve as a coach to put together. That is a men's sort of health and wellness conference. Is that a good way to build that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe call it like a performance retreat would maybe be a
performance retreat. Okay. And because leadership is your jam. So go into it for me about why performance. What is that? How do I show up and leave and somehow have my performance enhanced by this experience?
Sure. I mean, like you said, leadership is kind of one of the areas of focus that I've got a history and an interest in. And so that would be one of the areas that I would want to be bringing to the table. So, as an entrepreneur, leadership it's a really important facet of like what I do on a day-to-day basis. But there's aspects to it that I'm constantly developing on and that I think are really valuable for not only other entrepreneurs or business owners, but just people, in their day-to-day life, right? Because leadership is essentially just nothing more than influence. And if we have things we care about in life, life, which I'm certainly hoping is the case, you want to be able to exercise influence on them so that, you can direct them in a manner that makes sense and is productive for yourself. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So on some of the breakout sessions that Steve and I were developing were this concept of like leadership principles for getting out of the grind, right? I think a lot of guys this day and age are just constantly nose to the grindstone, and there's methods and strategies for approaching that can kind of free up some mental space to allow you to step out of that a little bit. And a lot of that's through leadership principles.
If I might ask a question, I realize we kind of came in this hard regarding the event without much backstory of who I mean, people watching.
I was 100% going there. That was literally about to say, if I'm watching this, I'm like, so wait, who's this guy that's going to tell me about leadership principles? What's in your wallet, bro? So it is kind of good to know. Steve, I mean, obviously you don't want to put Billy in a position to sort of tout his own accolades. So who's this dude?
I mean, who are all of us, really? I mean, probably people are familiar with Dennis, right? Dennis, obviously the founder of Man Up Life Coaching. If you're on this channel, you probably know that by now because you've seen his face 2,000 times. I myself, also one of the coaches at Man Up Life Coaching. Billy has been working with me for close to a year now. And how did you get here? Who are you?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we can start with why I reached out to Man Up Life Coaching in the first place, which was kind of what I was getting at with the just constantly grinding, right? I was burnt out with work, really just kind of looking for some strategies to be able to change some of that in my life. And that's something that Steve's been a huge help with, and the whole Man Up methodology has been a massive help with. And part of what came out of that is this idea of exercising, some of these leadership principles to step out of my business in a certain capacity, to free up, some time to focus on things that I'm passionate about, and namely leadership.
And your business being specifically construction, right?
Yeah. So I own a commercial and residential construction company.
Right. And it's, I mean, you're not a handyman. I mean, just to make it clear, like you own a legit company.
It's a multi-million-dollar company.
Okay. Multi-million-dollar company. I think, unfortunately, that's interesting for guys. Oh, well, go on, right? Because that starts to sort of qualify you as somebody who might speak to leadership, because monkey see, monkey do. I too would like to have a multi-million-dollar quack, quack, quack. And also you have the, I'm here all week, Steve, try the veal, funny how, like a clown, like I amuse you, but so we've got this guy who's got this multi-million-dollar construction operation, but who actually has a psychology background and who has worked in that field. So tell me about that, Billy.
Yeah. It's my background is so unusual that it's always a little bit odd, like laying it out, because it's like kind of this wandering path, right? So I've got a master's degree in psychology, experimental psychology, done research on personality and all sorts of different things.
Wait, I got to interrupt you. You have me at experimental. I just see like, deprivation tanks and like psilocybin. Like, what does this mean?
I wish it was that cool, Dennis, but essentially psychology can be branched off into clinical and then experimental, which is basically research methodology and more like academic focus. So I it certainly would have a focus on, performance related stuff, like, you name it, psilocybin and deprivation tanks being among them for sure. So
right, but that's super fringe. When you say experimental, you're saying sort of pushing the boundaries of industry standards.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So that's where growth happens. And we're back. Right. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So to summarize, I'm Dennis. I own Man Up Life Coaching. We've been operating as a wellness and betterment service for men for the past 11 years. When I started this, this was a very frankly estrogen driven industry. The only people who were looking for self-help were women, because of the, typical, notions of traditional masculinity. No, I don't ask for directions. No, I don't go to a therapist. I can fix it myself. You're not my real dad, and so women were kind of suggesting, hey, maybe, you could try therapy. And guys are like, all right. And then they try therapy, and their experience is it's talk therapy. And they come out feeling like, while there might have been certain benefits for certain people, the vast majority of guys are like, I think I need something more like coach mentor than to immediately jump into traditional therapy. And then there's finding the right therapist. So recognizing that there is something missing here, I created Man Up Life Coaching. At the time that I created Man Up Life Coaching, the closest thing you could find to anything that would qualify as like coaching for men would have been Tony Robbins. Legit, there just wasn't this. By about 2020, all of a sudden, every 24-year-old kid was calling himself a life coach for men. You have the Mankind Project. You just had this total, all these like fight clubs or whatever popping up all over the place. Man. Thankfully, Man Up Life Coaching got in when it did, established really good SEO. And to this day, my social proof is really solid on the back channels. So guys who type in things like help man, life coach man, they end up here. Stephen, who is Stephen? As we said, Stephen is a guy who came to my office because I still do have a San Diego office. I have a brick and mortar. He came to my office, knocked on my door, and said, I think I could be doing a little bit better in life. I took Steve on as he became my protege, developed a really good personal relationship with Steve, got him interested in drawing. He now draws really well. Got him interested in riding a motorcycle. We've gone on motorcycle trips, through Southern California, canyons or whatever. We're buddies. Man Up Life Coaching has also sneakily evolved from Dennis under a tent with two folding chairs and a clipboard to an international operation with clients in most, if not all, time zones. Somewhere along the way, Steve hits his stride with coaching. He ends up with you, and he's like, dude, I've got this client, Billy Leggett, that's like, I think he's built different. This guy really has big ideas. He does what he says he's going to do. He's got a psych background. He's a really bright guy. He 100% vibes with the Man Up Life Coaching model. And one way or another, he has the idea of putting on some sort of men's, as you said, sort of performance conference. We're not calling it a retreat, although it does have sort of retreat vibes at the end of the day. And he wants to partner with us. So fast forward to now, we've been in discussion. We have the idea that we're going to put this thing on in June?
Yeah, June 20th to the 23rd.
June 20th to the 23rd. And we're for the inaugural event, we're going to be kind of shooting fish in a barrel here. We're going to be really trying to shoulder tap guys within the community who we think, frankly, we'd like to meet, who we think will both add value because maybe they're kicking ass in their own lives, and or of course receive value both through the networking itself and through whatever your curriculum is. And we go, we hang out, we laugh, we cry, we sit around a fire, we drag our nuts through the underbrush, and then we go off on our merry way. And we call it a success. We create tons of social media, we put it out there, put content out there, and we try to make this an annual thing. Is that the big picture?
Well said.
Thanks, man.
That's what's up. If I might add a little bit from my perspective here on the possible value for our clients, one of the realities of the coaching business and the way that we operate is that we're one-on-one all the time, and there is a lot of value in our community. There's a lot of talent, and I've long viewed that the opportunity to forge some connection between some of these individuals, between some of these talented individuals, I think there's a very large chance that from this event, new businesses are created, like new organizations, new creative projects are sprouted from like I sincerely believe that is a likely outcome of this event, and that is very interesting for me to see personally.
Yeah, okay, so I'm thinking of some clients who I'm not going to name in full, but I'll sort of nod in their direction. Yeah. So I've got a guy we're going to call Sean T, who's in the Dallas area, who owns a couple, tech businesses. The top tier business being a point of sale system that services the South. He's somebody who's a really interesting guy. He's a gentleman of a certain age. He's sort of in my category. He's in good shape, lifts weights, plays hockey. Super good dude, who's not broke and who would definitely spend for something like this, and who is always kind of, knocking on my door saying, hey, got any interesting investment opportunities coming through Man Up Life Coaching right now? This is a dude who I think would love to show up, would love to network, would love to borrow whatever resources he can from this event to put into his Rolodex, as it were, and use those to leverage his own business growth. But like Steve just said, you never know. You don't know what you don't know. Maybe a couple of guys meet, they have a conversation, and they do the next big thing. I've got a guy in Nashville who we'll call Peter M. And this guy is a pilot, is in a flight club, husband, father, used to be fat, decided to go gangster with it, started lifting hardcore, is now in the field of nutraceuticals. He's in real estate. He's got his hands in everything. He makes good money. He's an awesome dude. He's another guy who's serious about the job. And I could see him. And actually, he's theoretically, this person is, I think, from the Colorado area. So would love an opportunity to do this sort of thing. This is not to say that the invite isn't open to some other dude who doesn't really have anything going on right now, decides to pony up the money and feels like he could get value. Like, hey, dude, I'm earning $100,000 a year. I'm 28 years old. I don't really have it all together, but I could get a lot of value from sharing space with these, these kick-ass bros. That's kind of, I think, as Steve is saying, an obvious sort of networking value opportunity for doing this. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, and the way that our coaching works, and there's such a foundation of trust that we have with our clients. These guys who are coming in as Man Up Life coaching clients, these guys are vetted. And this is also, there's an element of this is we don't want this necessarily closed to all people who are not of Man Up Life coaching. And if you're somebody who's like, hey, this seems like an interesting organization to be a part of, the invite is there. We're still going to have some kind of screening process, but there is this kind of foundation of trust that guys are coming in with, and it's going to create an environment where with a lot of honesty, and when there's that level of honesty, things can happen. I think that's in a really interesting way.
You know, you sound like an actual life coach. You're like worried about guys' feelings and shit. I'm like, just remember to invite the millionaires. The guy with the commercial pilot's license, I want him there. The guy who shakes your hands and you got to count your freaking fingers and make sure your fucking hand isn't broken. But no, that's actually true, and that's obviously our underlying mission. I should probably remind everyone that the kid from Philly here really believes philosophically that the underpinnings of everything that we do at Man Up Life Coaching is brotherly love. And I'm real with that.
You know, if and Billy's such a fantastic kind of case study for us, because he came in as basically a guy who is kind of like the picture of societal success in many ways, like, you know, successful entrepreneur, athletic, handsome, you know, beautiful girlfriend, all the good stuff, right? And yet he still ended up here, and this sort of brainchild of his, this event that we're doing is it's coming from, you're not doing this because you're trying to stack money, are you, Billy?
Not at all.
No, it's purpose driven. It's evident. Yeah, it's purpose driven. And what's your purpose when you've got it all? Your purpose is, you know, how am I inspiring others? I mean, that's kind of there's a point at which as men, we're concerned about our legacy, you know, like not how many levers did I pull and what was I paid for it, but what was my sort of footprint? I was watching Hamilton with Celia, my partner, the other day for different reasons. We're both sort of fascinated with the, you know, Hamilton, the musical or whatever it is, Broadway play. And it's kind of a musical, but it's a hip hop musical. So I'm okay with it. I'm not gay. Or am I? I just said I love my brothers. How much though? Like a cousin, like a buddy. Anyway, that's another chapter. We're watching Hamilton, and that's how you get engagement. By the way, you got to drop stuff like in that. Learn, son. I know what I'm doing.
Somebody clip that. Yeah.
Somebody clip that. Right. No, actually, please don't.
Don't clip that.
But so I was watching Hamilton, and they have this. You know, they go into how Hamilton, they really get into who this character was. And after we win our independence as a country, he, you know, as a lawyer, he starts, you know, he creates the Federalist Papers, and he starts writing. And one of the tunes is like, why does he write? Like he's running out of time. And they portray this guy who's like, he's like, you know, just really understands what's happening right now in America and wants to get ahead of it. And he's just crushing it, killing it, crushing it, because he wants this to be his contribution. He wants this to be his legacy. And again, to quote the play, I'm not going to miss my shot. So when I see guys who have checked these boxes like Billy, who then say, I want to have leadership conferences and to sort of pollinate the male community and to sort of pay forward what I've learned and give guys the tools to similarly get on this next level, not just of maintaining, but of going into full creation mode. One, it feels good to do that. Two, the organism is growing in the right direction. If you're teaching it how to grow healthily, it helps the economy. It helps us with how we communicate and do business with each other. And that, Billy, becomes your legacy. Amen?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, did I miss the mark on that? Or am I pretty much
not
saying?
At all. You know, I think it's just this sense of like, I like to see people succeed. And I like to see people and I don't mean that in just the traditional cultural sense. Like, I like to see people develop and find something in themselves that can bring them to either a higher level of achievement in their personal life, or, you know, that looks different for everybody, but it's this active transformation that it's been this background theme in my life for a long time. And I'm just super excited that we're getting ready to kick this thing off.
So as far as sort of closing statements here, I just want to let you guys know I've been sneakily managing comments on the back end here. So Luke at the Big Possible says it's going to be stellar. Jamie, Scudzill, who we'll call Jamie N, says, anyone want some jerky? He actually has been sending me beef jerky that he makes. He's from Louisiana. It's pretty good stuff. He also says having it all can suck. Gotta find purpose always. Well, gee, it'd be pretty nice. I'm not against that idea. But anyway, these guys are just some of the people who are following right now. What message do we send them out with as we sort of close this thing down? Who, what, when, where, and why of this event? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing here. So what are we telling them?
Steve, you want to take a stab? Or you want me to go for it?
Oh, I think I'm going to yield to you in this case, Billy.
Sure. So the three of us are going to officially be the sponsors of this thing and kick it off, right? So Dennis, Steve, and myself. Where it's at Puma Hills Lodge in Colorado. When is June 20th to the 23rd. And why? This is a chance to make some connections, be around like-minded people in a atmosphere of growth and support. A chance to explore some really fascinating new concepts. And then one thing, Dennis, I think is worth adding about this.
Okay.
I kind of brushed on it at the beginning. Is this location is it's awesome. So it's also a chance for guys to just get out, you know, explore the wild a little bit, be in a really incredible natural atmosphere, and you know they can tail off and do any number of pretty cool activities as well. So
I see. Yeah, you know, actually that's really good stuff what you're saying there. So in other words, just because we're hosting something doesn't mean that you have to ride around in the shuttle and, you know, kind of, you know, follow
What did you say about dragging your nuts through the brush? You could skip that part.
or you can go do that by privately if you're not interested in the communal nut dragging ceremony.
So, yeah, we've done some pretty cool stuff with this that we're planning on. So like we've got some intentional like free time blocked out. And I mean, really, like this is at your speed sort of conference. So the free time, we've got some vendors that are going to be showing up. We've got a friend of mine who runs a survival company. So he's going to do a little demonstration, for example. We're thinking about at the tail end of the conference, so technically be after the end of the conference, offering some fly fishing on a private stretch of water. We're going to have activity up there. So all sorts of cool things going on the outside of this as well.
Okay, so if you're there to do stuff, you can do sporty stuff, you can do bro stuff, you can do money bro stuff, you can go do your own stuff. Bottom line is, if you want to pay to come do this thing and take advantage of all the amenities, they're there for you. If you want to pay for this thing, come show up and sort of be non-committal and just say, I really just kind of want to meet these dudes, you know, and I'll sort of play it by ear from there. You can do that too. There's really very minimal expectation in terms of how you show up. Just pay the ticket and get here, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
On the website, we've got a list too of all the breakout sessions that people can check out.
All right. Well, if you guys have anything else to add to that, I think we're at the saturation point for this particular live. So if you want to leave information on your way out the door, you can do that. And then we can kind of finish up off camera.
Sounds great to me. Thank you. We have the best clients. So I mean, we posted this announcement that we're doing this 5 minutes ago, and guys, 5 minutes before the call, and guys still showed up. So I think that's super cool. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Awesome. Okay. So on that note, we're going to ride out here. Where can they find more information if they decide they want to do this?
Let's go manuplifecoaching.com/events.
manuplifecoaching.com/events. This is a leadership/performance conference for men that is taking place in Puma Hills, Colorado, between the dates of June, what was it?
20th to the 23rd. So it's the
20th to the 23rd, so Thursday through Sunday.
Yep.
And I'm going to talk to you guys in session and try to shoulder tap you and see if I can get you to come along. Okay, gents, thanks. And let's stop the stream and we'll end this thing off camera. Take care, fellas. Hope to